Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and thanks for tuning in to another epic battle in Rome 2 Total War. This is the Empire Divided DLC, and it was a subscribers battle replay submitted by Max Laser. And if you guys did watch my last Rome 2 battle, Max Laser did send in a very close 2 vs 2 that came down to only the generals. So very, very close battle, and he does assure me that this battle is pretty close to the same as far as how close it comes down to. So hopefully you guys enjoy, but without further ado, let's take a look at the army comps. The first army that we're going to take a look at in today's battle is Saba, and this is commanded by Max Laser, and you can see he's already moving his forces forwards. The battle does start off pretty quickly, so we'll definitely try to run through these army comps as quickly as possible. So in the front lines, he has 4 units of these slingers, just a basic slinger unit, but they do have shields, so it will offer them some missile protection. Then right in behind, he has the caravan guard here that we were zoomed in on before, and they kind of remind me, like I said before, of the Eastern Spearmen that Parthia can bring, but I think they have much better stats than that. They're a pretty solid spear unit. Then right in behind, he has the very elite heavy camel cataphracts. We saw these guys in the last battle just do a lot of work, but really heavily armored, so looking forward to see them on the battlefield. And then he's got 3 units of the Suebian swordsmen here. Looking really nice. Right in behind, he has 3 units of the, I believe these are noble swordsmen. Yes, they are. So a little bit more heavily armored. They are his most elite troops. And then right in behind that, we've got some mercenary Himyar cavalry, and Max Laser always jokes about me because I guess when I first started YouTube, I always used to pronounce these guys as Himyar. Or sorry, Himmler, I always used to say, but it's Himyar. Yeah, you just have to pronounce it the exact way that it's sounded out. And that's pretty much his forces. He does have a couple units of the Desert Levy, as well as his general here, which is the Royal Marib Cavalry. And that's the general's bodyguard right there. So that is pretty much it for Max Laser's army, so let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. The second army in today's battle that we're going to take a look at, this is also Max Laser's ally. It is the Masaesyli tribe, I believe is how you pronounce it, and this is commanded by Helix. And this is the first time that we've seen the Masaesyli tribe on the channel. It is another one of the new desert factions. So looking at Helix's left flank, he's got these armored Numidian riders, 2 units of them. So because they have a lot of Numidian units, I'd imagine that that's where they originate from. And there's a couple of Numidian riders at the back here. He has 2 on either flank, totaling 4. In the very center, he's got 2 units of these slave infantry, so they're probably just a cheap throwaway infantry. They are light melee infantry, so they're probably just going to be used to soak up enemy fire. But this is the really cool part about the Masaesyli tribe, is that they actually have a lot of Romanized units as well. If you take a look at these guys, we've got 4 units of these desert legionaries here, which look very, very cool. So I guess from Roman occupation, they have been taught the ways of Rome and been outfitted to look almost like Roman soldiers, which is very cool. And then right in behind, he's got these 4 units of desert cohort, which are even more elite and heavy, I think, because these are... No, they're both very heavy melee infantry, but the desert cohort are probably his elite units. And then right in behind, he's got the heavy Numidian skirmishers as his general. And then he has 2 units of these armored Numidian spearmen, which probably are my favorite units that he's brought to the battle. These guys look really cool. So he has 2 units of them, and then he has 2 units of the desert vigiles as well. And that is pretty much his army as a whole. So let's go ahead and take a look at the attackers. The third army in today's battle, and also opposing Max Laser and Helix today, is Egypt, and this is commanded by Yofran. And it's really nice to see that he's actually brought some iconic Egyptian units to the battlefield. A lot of times when people play as Egypt, they tend to just bring the Greek units that make up about half of their roster, just because they're more elite, they're better trained, they have more formations, and that kind of stuff. So he does have a few of these Greek units. You can see he's got 2 units of the Thorax swordsmen over here. but then he's actually bringing Egyptian pikemen instead of the thorac pikemen that you can bring, or the companion pikemen, I believe is the most elite ones. So he's bringing 3 units of the Egyptian pikemen. Right in behind that, he's got 5 units of Egyptian slingers. And then if we jump over here, he does have some of the Galatian units as well, so some mercenaries brought to the battle. He's got the Galatian swordsman, and then right in behind is the Royal Galatian swordsman, or Galatian Royal Guard, my apologies. And I skipped over his general here, which is a Royal Thorax swordsman, and that would be the general there. And then one last unit way over on this flank, he has the Royal Peltis, so that rounds out the infantry. And then for his cavalry, he actually has 3 units of the Tarentine cavalry, which is a Greek skirmish cavalry unit. And then he has 2 units of citizen cav with 1 unit of camel spearmen. Citizen cav are over here. Now the citizen cav can be brought by, I think, any Greek faction in the game, because they're kind of a standardized faction. And there's a lot of interesting history about the citizen cavalry. I will be starting my series soon on like just short little 5 to 6 minute videos that highlight only 1 unit. And I'll probably start with my first one being from Medieval Kingdoms 1212, but one that I'm really interested in doing as well is the Citizen Cavalry, because they just have a lot of history, and believe it or not, they were actually one of the very first cavalry units to be used offensively in battle in the ancient world, which is very, very cool. So, yeah, hopefully you guys are excited for that, but without further ado, let's take a look at the last enemy. The final army opposing the desert tribes today on the battlefield is Suebi, and this is commanded by Manzikert. And Suebi is a really, really solid Germanic faction to choose. They've got a lot of really elite units, and also units that are very cheap, but because of their berserker mode, or the killing spree, they are able to rack up a ton of kills. But looking at the army as a whole, he has 3 units of the Germanic slingers in the front lines, followed closely behind by 3 units of berserkers. His main line is consisting of wolf warriors, which is a medium melee infantry. We've got the general's bodyguard here, and I would imagine this is the general here, right by the flag bearer. And protecting his cavalry over on this flank, he has 5 units of the Spear Brothers, and his cavalry consists of the 4 units of Germanic Scout Riders, and that's basically all he's brought for his cavalry. So a lot of ranged cavalry. Hopefully they'll be able to use them effectively to kind of pick apart the desert kingdoms, and also their cavalry too, because the Numidian cavalry will be very fast. The armored ones probably won't be able to keep up as much, but these Germanic Scout Riders, they're good at their job, just getting in there, throwing their spears, and then quickly getting out of there before being caught in melee. But that's pretty much it, so let's go ahead and take a look at the battle. The battle starts on the far left flank, where the Masaesyli tribe is moving forwards all of their cavalry in the face of the Germanic Scout Riders, because as you saw in the army comps, all 4 units of Germanic Scout Riders did peel off to the right-hand side, which would be Helix's left-hand side, to harass all of the Numidian cavalry. You can see them just in the distance beyond the Numidian riders coming forwards to hopefully whittle down the numbers of Helix's cavalry, because this would give him a marked advantage against the heavy Roman legionaries that the Masaesyli can bring. But here they come in. It looks like they're probably just going to throw their Pila, which is exactly what they're going to do, just to get in range enough. And then look at this. As soon as the Numidians try to chase them, or sorry, right here, as soon as the Numidians will try and chase them, the Germanic Scout Riders, they're so fast that they'll just be able to pull away. And Helix knows that. He is a pretty veteran player of Rome 2, so he does know his way around the battlefield, but he's going to have to be very careful with these armored Numidian riders getting close to those Germanic slingers, because they will be able to destroy whole units of cavalry. Now, looks like we've got this unit coming in, but again, just all of those Pila being thrown from all sides is really going to whittle this unit down. Oh, wow, that was a brutal volley there. It's just pretty much a slaughter at this point, and it looks like they did turn around to try to catch this unit. They did get a few of them, but at what cost? This unit of armored Numidian riders here is probably a pretty expensive unit, and these Germanic scout riders, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think that they're pretty cheap for cavalry. So just being able to rid yourself of the enemy's cavalry will give you a huge advantage. Now it looks like we got some of the Spear Brothers moving into position here, but we've got the slave infantry coming forwards, and it looks like Masaesyli, who's playing as the Suebi, he is falling for the trap of firing at the slave infantry, which I would definitely not do. The wolf warriors are more than capable of handling them. But there we go, they finally moved in. The slave infantry, I think, have done their job, because you can see all of Helix's army, most of it anyways, is able to move into position without being fired upon. The only ones that are still firing on these Desert Legionaries over here are these two units of slingers. And now the Numidian riders are getting them away anyways. And well done to Helix too, actually. It looks like they were the Suebian Spear Brothers who were over here before were pulled out of position, and they were able to catch some of the undefended Germanic slingers over here, running them down as well on this flank. And we've got another unit of armored Numidian riders coming in, but the battle line has formed, albeit it's a little bit chaotic at this point. Let's get a nice end zoom in here. But yeah, the Berserkers are going to be the biggest problem, and the Wolf Warriors as well, because they a lot of the Suebian infantry has such high melee attack and melee damage that they're just able to cut through these Roman legionaries without much work at all. Which is a big problem, because I think that is the bulk of Helix's army, is those legionaries. Now, over here, it's a little bit quieter. Max Laser is bringing all of his slingers over to this flank to zone out the Tarentine cavalry, which is a very good call. He doesn't want to waste his elite Sabian camel cataphracts just chasing after Tarentine cavalry, because it's going to be the exact same story as over here with the Germanic scout riders just killing them at range. Well, we've got some of the citizen cavalry moving forwards, but this is a big risk. We've got a lot of the slingers here that could easily shred the citizen cavalry, and we've actually got the caravan guard moving right in to basically stare down the citizen cavalry right in their faces. And here comes a pretty good Pila throw. Actually, I'd say most of them did miss their mark, but it is going to drive the citizen cavalry away, which I think was his main plan all along. Let's go back and see how Helix is doing. It's not looking the best for the Masaesyli tribe. And correct me if I'm wrong in that pronunciation. I think that is how you pronounce it, though. Or Masaesyli. Masaesyli tribe, I think, is what it would be. But now we've got the armored Numidian spearmen here in against the Wolf Warriors. And we've actually got some of the Vigiles charging in too. They will add numbers to the line, but they won't add much skill, that's for sure. The Vigiles are pretty garbage. They're mostly anti-cavalry. They're not really meant for a main line. But here we go. We've got a lot of these Suebi kind of collecting around this one unit of Desert Legionaries. And they are kind of surrounded, fighting on all sides here. But there's just not much of Helix's army left. There are pockets of fighting here. We've got some of the Desert Vigiles against the Spear Brothers. And we have a unit of Desert Cohort over here as well, but I think the Slingers are targeting them in the backs. And, oh, that was a big volley, too, from the Pila. So just whittling down their numbers. Looks like we've got some of the units that are freed up now, and they should be able to add some weight to the crumbling battle lines over here. But over on this flank, it looks like the Saba are kind of breaking through. We've got the General Royal Marab Cavalry against the Thorax Swordsman here. But here we go. Well done by Masaesyli. He is helping out his ally with the Germanic Scout Riders, causing some issues for Max Laser as he tries to formulate a battle line over here. But again, he's just completely avoiding this pike wall, which I think is the best idea. And looks like the pikes are pulling back in the face of these camel cataphracts. And where are they going to charge? It looks like they're breaking through over here, so Egypt is having a bit of a tough time. However, a lot of the cavalry has got in from behind and is running down a lot of his slingers that he may need later on against the Suebi. Conversely, though, we've also got the Suebian swordsmen who have caught the Egyptian slingers in melee as well. And this should be a nice charge here from the mercenary Himyar cavalry. And we've got the Suebian camel cataphracts coming in as well. These guys are like unstoppable by any unit of infantry. It's pretty crazy. Really nice here, getting a very wide battle line as well, so we can catch multiple units in melee. But Helix's army is pretty much destroyed at this point. He's got one unit of Desert Cohort that's still holding out here. But I think it's only a matter of time before the Suebi cut their numbers down. And looks like we actually got some Berserkers flanking around anyways. So that pretty much seals the fate of these Desert Cohort. So let's focus mostly on Max Laser's side now. Okay, so it looks like we tried to have a pincer movement by the Egyptian pikemen here into the caravan guard, but they've actually kind of divided the pikemen a little bit here, which isn't the best position for them. Over here, though, I think Max Laser will be able to win against the Galatian Royal Guard. They are down to 57 men now. The only thing that worries me is that Egypt still has a lot of his cavalry left, and Max Laser's units are kind of isolated, as you can see. So he kind of needs to collect his units together. We've got some Tarentine cavalry moving in here to support the Royal Peltas. But yeah, over here, the Egyptian pikemen actually attacked in the rear by some of these, what's this unit here? The Suebian swordsmen. So they may actually break this pike unit. Over here, the caravan guard is cutting down the other unit of pikemen as well. So yeah, just poor positioning on the pikemen. Not really his fault, but Max Laser does definitely know how to avoid pikemen and save a lot of his infantry, because by attacking pikemen from the front like this, you can see that a lot of the infantry are just having a really tough time trying to break through. Even though the Egyptian pikemen aren't the elite of Egyptian pikemen, funnily enough, the Egyptian pikemen are actually the worst pikemen that Egypt can bring. If you attack them from the front, they still can do a ton of damage. But I think the Egyptian player is pulling back now to the Suebian side. Helix has been destroyed. I'd say that the Suebi have about half of their army left, or a little bit less than half. The general down to 36. He's got all his slingers left, but I don't know how much ammo they have. We've got some Spear Brothers and Wolf Warriors, so actually Helix was pretty successful in routing most of the mainline infantry. And we've got the Suebian swordsmen here chasing down the Royal Thorax swordsmen, but now they're in range of the Suebi slingers. And there we go, that unit of Suebian swordsmen is broken. Oh, this guy's dying in the grass over here, if you guys can see that. Man, that's gotta be the worst feeling, just dying on the battlefield. No one's gonna come and help you because they're worried about themselves, not you. Okay, so Max Laser, he is pretty banged up. The only thing that's going in his favor is he has most of his cavalry left. Mind you, the Egyptians still have their Tarentine cavalry, But I don't think the Suebi have any cavalry, so that could be their downfall. Although I'm not sure if Max Laser can pull this back, because the balance of power is very heavily out of his favor. It looks like he is moving forwards his line. He does have some noble swordsmen left, and some of his caravan guard. We've got more caravan guard coming up in the rear as well. But this is what's going to be the problem. Max can't pull his units out of position like this one by one. I know he is trying to catch the cavalry in melee, but they're just going to get isolated and surrounded and killed. And we got the caravan guard over here fighting against some of the Egyptian pikemen. They actually are quite out of position, so he may get the upper hand there. I'm not too sure. But this is exactly what's happening. So that unit of caravan guard is gone now. We still have 7 minutes left in the battle, though, so this must be just a slog. I think the Suebi player is just moving back and allowing Max Laser to fight the Egyptians fairly. Okay, so we've got a big brawl over here. We've got the caravan guard trying to hold the Tarentine cavalry here. We've got the mercenary Himyar cavalry as well, so the Egyptian player realizes that he's outmatched, and he is going to try and pull his units out of melee there. One of the units of caravan guard is wavering, though, but I think they're steadied because the general is nearby now. And the Egyptian pikemen were out of position. They did get their pikes down just in time, but not before a few of the units actually got in inside the pikes, and the Suebian camel cataphracts just riding right through the general's bodyguard and the thorax swordsman unit, actually wavering the general and thorax swords unit and breaking this other unit of Egyptian pikemen as well. So I think, man, like, he may be able to win this just with the Suebian camel cataphracts, but they are pretty depleted. He's going to need to keep them well rested. Got a very depleted unit of mercenary Himyar cavalry. Looks like they are going to try and get a charge into the Egyptian pikemen. That was a pretty weak charge, but it does kind of keep them out of position, which is good. But the Tarentine cavalry are close by. And the Suebians are just kind of forming up a tighter formation over on this flank here. And the Egyptians are desperately trying to reach the Suebian lines in time. But down to 2 units of Tarentine cavalry. He did have 3 before, but he's down to 2. And I think that they are completely out of ammo, so they cannot be used as a skirmishing force any longer. I'm interested to see what happens here. It's so calm. It's so calm right now. Okay, so looks like there's some movement over here. So we've got the general's bodyguard over here. I'm not sure if Max is going to try and bait the Tarentine cavalry in, but he has to be really careful to stay out of range of the Germanic slingers. But that's exactly what he did, and got his Suebian camel cataphracts in against the Tarentine cavalry. And look at that, his general's just going to escape, and both of the units of cavalry are breaking. That was a huge move there. The only thing is, he really needs to hold on to these camel cataphracts, so get them out of the way quickly so that he can save them from these spear brothers that still do have Pila. Looks like they are throwing them at the camel cataphracts as they try to pursue them. But now this is a mistake from the Suebi tribe. I think he's overestimating his numbers, and he's pulling these 2 units really far ahead of the rest of his forces. He's left most of his slingers undefended over here. And the Suebian swordsmen here moving into shield wall. We've got a unit of wolf warriors coming in wedge formation. But look at this. They've all gone for the 1 unit of noble swords. And now all of this cavalry is going to be flanking around. That is pretty concerning. We've got the Egyptian pikeman set up over here. But the pikeman needs to move and protect his allies' flank. instead of sitting there to the side. I'm not sure if that's what he's going to do, but I think it will be too late. I'm not sure. Yeah, Max Laser realizes exactly what he's trying to do, and he quickly turns them around to go for the charge. I want to be zoomed in for this. I feel like this is going to be a pretty good charge. Here come the camel cataphracts. Yes, just running right through the ranks, actually thrashing that unit of pikes because they were out of formation as well. I want to see how much damage that did. Wow, they pretty much just broke 3 units of infantry plus the Egyptian pikemen. The Royal Thorax Swordsman General is pretty much dead now. There's no way he's coming back from that. Now, the balance of power is still pretty heavily out of Max Laser's favor, but I'm feeling pretty confident that he may actually be able to win this now. We've got the Berserkers over here charging into this very depleted unit of Himyar Cavalry, but the Himyar Cavalry might be able to win that. I'm not too sure. They are wavering now, so probably not, but I don't want to miss anything else that's going on over here. Again, making a big mistake. He's pulling his general forwards with his spear brothers, but look how far away they are. When you don't have cavalry to defend your units, it is a bad move to spread out your forces like that. Yeah, good call. He's pulling his spear warriors back. But actually, it looks like they're facing the wrong way now. He kind of needs to turn them around. Okay, and it looks like they actually just passed right by the spear brothers and are going to charge into the general and all of the slingers as well. Just riding right through them. And the balance of power almost even. Now we've got the general wavering. Egypt has been routed off the battlefield completely. Okay, the general did steady now, which is good. But I think he has this. This is amazing. Apologies if I'm shouting in the mic, but this is a comeback from, like, no hope. Maybe these, I'm not sure, maybe these Suebian camel cataphracts need to be nerfed or something, or it could just be really good battlefield awareness by Max Laser. But yeah, the balance of power is in his favor now. He's running down the last of the slingers over here. We've got the Berserkers starting to waver. Spear Brothers are wavering. As soon as this Suebian general dies, the battle is his. He's still alive, though, eh? Wow. There he is, the brave Suebian general there with the... He's got the white cape. Spear Brothers moving in to defend him. Oh, this is going to be a big hit. Yes. Oh, and that probably killed the general right there. We've got the Royal Marab Cavalry coming in, but look at that costly victory. I would say that's a Pyrrhic victory. That is an insane win. Let's take a look at the results here. So Max Laser's army, look at the kills on this cavalry. 222. This is the one I think that lasted till the end. 150, 513, 362. So really, basically, the cavalry won him the battle there. Slingers kind of got run down, so they didn't get many kills. Caravan Guard, yeah, they did their job kind of holding the line. This one, 104 kills, which is good. The Desert Levy kind of getting run down, but the rest of his infantry doing pretty solid. Looking at Helix's force, unfortunately, his cavalry did get destroyed by the Germanic scout riders, but his infantry doing not bad, 51 and 70 with the spears. His Desert Cohort and Desert Legionaries getting decent kills, I would say, but the Desert Vigilants not so much. And the Slave Infantry, all, like, obviously they wouldn't get a lot of kills. Looking at Egypt, we've got 100 with the Royal Thorax Swords, 267 with the Citizen Cavalry. Did well with his Tarentine Cavalry. The Slingers, not too high on the kills. Pikes, could have gotten more. I think the best unit is the Galatian Royal Guard here, getting 186 kills. And looking at Manzikert with his Scout Riders doing really well. All of these kills are on cavalry, so even though it looks low, a cavalry unit is 60 men, so 53 men there. That's pretty solid. 185 for the general. Berserkers obviously doing well. We got the Spear Brothers doing well, and the Wolf Warriors doing well. So basically, he had to challenge 2 armies, so I think that's the reason that he did win in the end. But even still, or sorry, he did lose in the end, but even still, he had quite a bit of his force left, and Max Laser just, with these Suebian camel cataphracts, they are just a nightmare on the battlefield to deal with. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this battle. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. And hopefully I'll be able to get a siege battle in Rome 2 out for you guys soon. I've just been pretty busy lately catching up after being sick for so long. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.